to yourself that you want to do a genuine business, you want to go far. God, what next? What's somebody from coming and say, meet your father or your prophet and says, look at what, I don't know what next to do. When God starts leading, don't double-cross him. Don't lead. Let him move step by step. And hear me, one thing with God is that God is not like, at times, God cannot tell you beginning to the end. Go to brook. He didn't tell him the brook will dry. He didn't tell him. Because if I told him the brook will dry, the guy would be scared. He didn't tell him the brook will dry. He only told him, go to the brook and there. It was when he dried, he came back and said, go to what? Zarephath. You will meet a widow there. The next step. And if you look at it, because he followed the divine leading, he never suffered it. Most of us, immediately you get small change or small thing, and your friends, you follow. They're the one who sees more than God, who knows more than God. So if you want, can you hear me here? To move to a realm of success, beginning now, when God started it, let him finish it. And it will help all of us. In Jesus' name. Now, arise, go to Zarephath, belonging to Sidon. And while there, behold, I have commanded a widow woman there to sustain you. Do you know why so many of us are unhappy? So many of us are frustrated. That whenever our brook dried, instead of us to ask God, what next? Hello? What next from where I am? You start doing your own things. Many of you will start hiring shovel to begin to dig dried brook. Why God has a place in Zarephath for you. And you can spend 8 hours or 8 years digging what? Digging the brook that will never give you water. What is a place that only instruction can take you there? And when you are digging it, it's not bringing water. You blame God, you blame yourself, you get frustrated, but you are not in the will of God. It is not that God doesn't have the power to make water to feed the brook. You understand? He could have done it, but he didn't. He has his own plan. He has what? His own plan. Because somebody somewhere called a widow needed to be visited by God. So many a times, God is not slow. God is not weak. We are the one that have fed ourselves. Because I want to copy from her. I want to copy from him. No. Can you hear me here? God may deal with each of us differently. I am telling you. I don't copy from, if you do something good, I can borrow an idea of what you are doing. Are you getting me here? Because I learned in a hard way. I can borrow idea from what you are doing. You can borrow idea of what she's doing. Are you getting me here? To help what God has asked you to do, not what God has asked you to do. Are you with me? Are we still together? What we do is that because it is probably he dug the brook and he brought more water. So my own dry, I'll start digging. While God is waiting for me in Zarephath. The frustration you go through here and spending few days to say, God, what next? Would have been so easy as a believer. Because you are digging that place. You are human, you have emotions. And it's not producing. At a point, you'll be weary and tired and frustrated even of God. You'll be tired of God because you think God is no longer with you, or God is wicked, or God doesn't hear you. But the question is that place you are digging, God is saying, leave, the brook have dried. I have a better place for you. Even when the brook, you force it to start bringing small water, you will not see the ravens again. Because you can force the brook, you can't force the ravens. The ravens are under divine instruction. Am I preaching to anybody here today? So are you getting blessed? So whenever your brook dries, look up to God. Maybe there's something better ahead of you. The third lesson I want us to learn is 1 Kings 17 from verse 9 to 12. Don't neglect divine instruction, especially when it is not convenient and when it calls for sacrifice. Don't neglect it. Arise, go to Zarephath, which belongs to Sidon, and dwell there. See, I've commanded a widow to provide for you. So he arose and went to Zarephath, and when he came to the gate of the city, indeed, a widow was there, gathering sticks, and he called to her and said, please bring me a little water in a cup that I may drink. And as she was going to get it, he called to her and said, please bring me a morsel of bread in your hand. So she said, as the Lord your God lives, I do not have bread, only a handful of flour in a beam and a little oil in a jar. And see, I am gathering a couple of sticks that I may go in and prepare for it and my son, that we may eat it and what? And die. Please, I want to give you 5 lessons I want you to learn from here. Then I'll be running off. Listen. Don't neglect what? Divine instructions. Especially when it's not convenient or cause of sacrifice. Because anytime God speaks to us and it's not convenient, most of us will neglect it. Anytime instruction calls for sacrifice, most of us will pick offense. We will not obey it.